Markets really all over the place as caution builds ahead of the release on the latest inflation data. And joining us now to talk about this and more of your money is former Trump White House economic advisor Steve Mooren. Good morning to you, Steve. You know, we had this record-breaking rally earlier this week for the markets, but we have some new data coming out today. The Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, that's the, I guess, the Federal Reserve's preferred measure for inflation. What do you think we can expect?
I think inflation continues to run in the 2.5% to 3% range, Jan.
Yep.
Now, that's a little bit higher than we'd like to see it. You know, the Fed target for inflation is 2%. So we're still above where we want to be, but we're in much better shape than we were under Biden when inflation was 5, 6, 7, 8, and even 9%. So it is still a little bit of a worry. The Fed has to, be very attentive to keeping inflation under control. That's their main job. But I want to mention something else about the Fed, if I may. You just reported on those just blockbuster GDP numbers that came out yesterday. And just a few weeks ago, Jerome Powell was saying we predict 1.6% growth. Wait a minute. There's a long distance between 1.6% growth and 3.8% growth. This is the gang that can't shoot straight at the Fed. It's another reason why Jerome Powell has to go, and we have to get a new Fed chairman who knows what's really going on with the economy.
What do you attribute to that? Because that's a great GDP number that we got there.
Yes. And here's the thing, I just listened to your excellent report on that, but I just want to add something to it that I think is really important, which, yes, consumer spending was up, but, one of the major drivers of the better GDP numbers has been business investment, Jan, business investment. And that's the best statistic of all, because when businesses invest, they're investing in the future of the U.S. economy. They're going to hire more workers. They're going to invest more in plant and equipment and things of that nature. So that's a very bullish report. Now, look, the economy seesaws up and down, no question about it. And there's some worries about, consumers pulling back a little bit this month. But on balance, you have to say this is a pretty healthy economy, especially when you look at those record amounts of closing in the stock market in recent weeks.
Yeah, it's been looking good. However, gold also is up. That's not good. It's up some 42% year to date.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about that?
That makes me nervous. The gold price is at about 3,800. It's up about 40%, Jan, this year. And that's always a bad sign for an economy. You want gold prices to be stable. Then you ask the question, why would people invest in gold? Well, there's two reasons people invest in gold. One is if they feel that there's going to be inflation in the currencies, then you invest in those hard gold bullion. But the other reason is when people get nervous about the economy, they tend to flee towards gold.
That's right.
Gold. So I have to say, I'm a little perplexed by that big rise in the gold price. Hopefully we'll see a stabilization, because it's risen from less than 3,000 to 3,800 in just the last 6-7 months.
I want to talk about something you posted on your X account, and that is the public support for higher education. It is collapsing, you wrote. And you reported a decline in Americans' belief in the importance of gaining a college education. Here is a graph showing just how much it's gone down 75% in 2010 to only just 35% today. That is tremendous. What are the factors behind this?
By the way, if you look at that chart, the green is the spending and the blue line is the public support for what the universities are doing. And I think this is the residual effect of a kind of getting away from the basics in our universities. Too many kids are investing, are majoring in sociology or ethnic studies or psychology, things that aren't going to give you a high-paying job when you graduate. We need more people who are experts in science, technology, mathematics, health and things of that nature. And then also people are watching what's going on in college campuses, and people are getting more and more disgusted by it. These, 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds running around and causing havoc. So I think the universities better clean up their act, because public support is really falling dramatically.
Yeah, and speaking of which, these major universities preaching diversity virtually have no political diversity with their faculty, right? 90% of professors registered Democrats. Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, as you just said, I can't say it better than you did. They preach diversity, and yet there's no diversity among the university faculty. 90% of them are Democrats. And when we put this out, one of my friends said, well, the Republican, the ones, some of them are just lying because it's probably closer to 95%. But the point is, we should have more diversity, conservative voices, liberal voices, moderate voices, all on college campus, because the whole idea of college is to be open to a whole range of ideas, and you don't get that on college campuses today.
And to be able to have civil debate. Former White House
Exactly.
economic advisor Steve Moore, appreciate you joining us this morning. Have a great weekend, sir.
Have a great weekend.